this is all cool, but what happens next? What is life, and what is life after life?
It is the week leading up to Easter, and I am so excited for some very special Everyday Joy episodes this week. I have been having discussions with some friends and family and different people who have walked totally different journeys with God. And so over the next 5 days, we're going to be hearing 5 different stories of different people's journey of coming to know God. They're almost like little testimony episodes, but the focus is on the cross and on that moment of them giving their lives to Jesus. But also, it's kind of about what was the lead up? What were the questions they were asking? What were the things they were wrestling with? And who were the people that were impacting their lives that led them to the point of coming to know Jesus? And the stories are all so unique, all so different, and I can't wait for you to hear them. The idea is that you'll be able to share these with friends and family, maybe even people who don't know Jesus, so that you can encourage them and say, hey, so-and-so's story sounds a little bit like yours. You should have a listen and be encouraged by how they've come to know God. So I hope you love this week's episodes. But even before we jump in, I am so excited. Everyday Joy Live is officially happening. This is definitely a behind-the-scenes experience of Everyday Joy. There's a very limited number of seats available. You can get them via the link in the show notes. It's completely free. There's easy, free on-site parking. But I can't wait to see you there. It's going to be such a beautiful day. Let's jump right into today's conversation. I am very excited to have Derrick on the podcast with me. Now, Derrick is a friend of our wonderful Nicole, who's our Digi girl here at The Light. Now, Derrick, I'm excited to hear some of your story. We're just diving in all week to testimonies, people's stories, the things that have led people to Jesus, you know, the different stories that people have had, the different ways God has brought people into our world or situations or moments that have led us to the cross and to Jesus. So I can't wait to hear a bit more of your story. Why don't you give me a little bit of context of who you are, your life, what was life like before Jesus, and who was Derrick back in the day?
Derrick back in the day, he loves a good party. Also, old Derrick loves to stay up, late nights, heading out, making it big in the town. And never really had a real goal or maybe even a vision for it. I was I think the best way to say it is I'm just in the moment. I go as the wind blows. Whoever says, hey, we're gonna do this tomorrow, all right, I'll jump in, whatever it is. I just follow whatever my friends are telling me to do. Even it's so much so to the point where even in my uni degree, where you would go, probably should give a bit of a thought to it. I didn't even do it. I just asked my mates. I was like, what are you guys doing? I'm like,
really?
I was like, yeah. So I did that and just followed through. I came over to Australia as a uni student. And so I did first year in Monash in Malaysia. And my folks, well, mum and dad were very, very keen to get me out to the outside. So they were really, really encouraging, just going, look, just go out there and try, studying outside, studying abroad. You might get some new experiences and all that. So I did that. Came over to Australia in my second year of uni. And and you would think that, okay, living independently is probably going to get a bit more responsible with his life. No,
Opposite.
the complete opposite.
And did you come from a Christian family? Do your parents have a faith? What was that kind of looking like for you?
Yeah, so mom actually got saved in her uni days, but dad wasn't saved at that time. He is now, which is,
wow,
praise God, that's awesome. But he wasn't saved at that time. And growing up, we were just basically in a household that's mainly of a Buddhist sort of belief. But even that as well, we don't go to we, as in my family, we don't go to temples. We don't do any of the celebrations as much. But it was just mainly of I never thought of this faith component in my life, or just within our family's life and all that. So no, it was coming from a non-Christian background.
So my husband sounds like he's got a bit of a similar story at some points. He was a bit of a party boy back in the day, and we always call it his testimony building era. He was just building his testimony, partying, doing all the things. So you were in that era of life. You're at uni. You're kind of a bit of a party boy. You just want to be, wherever your friends are, do whatever your friends are doing. What kind of happens after that? What does life look like? And I guess, was there a lead up to you coming to know Jesus?
Yeah, absolutely. My only experience with churches, it will be on Christmas days where a mate of mine will go, "Hey, you want to come to church?" And I'll be like, not really. I say, "Oh, there's a Christmas play going on, it might be good." So I'll go, on every 25th of December. I'll be in church, for the one time at I like to call it the annual visit. So I'll be there watching a play and blah, blah, blah. And I guess that's where the seed was really planted in my heart of going, like the story of Jesus and what he's done on the cross for us, and how, as believers, how does that faith in him being rooted in the word is so mighty, so strong, and so powerful. It's just something that I couldn't even logically explain to begin with, and that is always the concept where I just go, oh, okay, that's nice, but maybe when I'm older, I still like to live my life. So at that time, with partying and all that, you get involved with different groups of people. And you're trying things, and you're just, you're drinking every day and every night. And one of the things is just mainly, going, okay, like this is all cool, but what happens next? What is life, and what is life after life? And I couldn't answer it, and it was so, it was pretty, now I can't think of it, it's kind of crazy, because at that time in uni, my grades were okay. Was decent. Never had anything to worry about. So to me, my life was great. I was just going through. I was enjoying it. I was just going through the motion, and all that. But a couple of nights, couple of weeks, couple of months into it, after I graduated, when you're in uni, you've got your schedules, you get your timetables all sorted out.
Life's full.
Your life's full, but when you graduated and you're, stepping into the workforce unemployed for the first time without vision, you will perish. And that was me. I was just, being an absolute slob.
Well, you kind of get stuck with your thoughts. Hey, you go from having all of this to more time to think, more time to realize I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah, exactly. So, at that time, the only thing that I knew how to fill my time out was by partying. I started getting really deep into, whatever substances people were just handing out, and I thought, all right, this is awesome. I get to live my life like that. But in reality, looking back at it, was just an escape from whatever, from my life, and from some, I guess, that thing that was missing in a relationship with God, that just basically, made that path for me. One time, one of the nights, I was just out partying and just, doing whatever again. And then I think what really made me go, what am I doing in my life, was when, I was just there. It was a night, and I just go, I actually feel empty. I actually don't know how to feel. I don't know, because I think one of my friends at that time, he was it was a deep guy, put it that way. And he liked to talk about, hey, man, how do you feel and how are you and all that. And I was like, I don't know, I actually don't know. That was then where I go, and I think it was one of the times where I kept going. Like I said, I went to church every 25th of December, and every end of the thing, there's always a salvation altar call. If you want to accept Jesus, and there was a prayer. So at that time I go, oh, maybe I could pray. So yeah, and then never look back, basically.
Oh, wow. So was it like after that party, you basically prayed? Is that kind of what it was?
It was more of like, I tried to pray. I try, and I go, I've got no idea what I'm doing. Oh yeah.
Do you remember what you said in your prayer?
Probably just going, hey, God. I don't know.
Hey, God.
I don't remember. I really don't remember. But I just knew that, I wanted to find something, I guess. So that week itself, I went to church and I got saved, basically.
Wow.
Yeah.
So cool. Do you feel like for you, it was, so you kind of had this sense of, you were like, I am doing all these things. I still feel empty. I still feel like I don't have vision or purpose to what I'm doing. I have all these thoughts. I don't have a job right now. And then you cry out to God. You say this prayer, and then you end up going to church, and I guess doing this salvation prayer and salvation moment. Did everything change for you instantly, or was it a slow burn? Kind of, what did it look like after that? Did you realize that God was who he was in that moment when you gave your life to him, or did it take a bit of time to truly go, wow, like this is the real deal?
Yeah, definitely, definitely the latter. So I think that was my expectation as well, going, oh, everything's going to be handy dandy the moment I got saved. So in church, so I go to Planet Shakers, they hand you this book. It's titled Eternity, really, really, really awesome book, and it walks you through your walk with God. And as I'm reading this, as I'm reading this book, I go, gee, there's a lot.
There's a lot to this.
Yeah, so there's a lot to this, and you gotta, this is what's gonna happen. This is how you can handle things. This is how you can say your prayer. What's gonna look like for you, and all that. And so, no, it was absolutely a incredible journey that started from there, and that strengthened me. That redefined what the Father's love is to me. Growing up in a household where it was, I guess, never really had that Christianity foundation. So there were lots of things that had to be, I guess, uprooted and just give it to God to be healed, really. So it was an absolute slow burn.
Wow. What do you think changed the most in you? Like what do you feel like God poured on your heart at the beginning?
Grace, lots of grace. I think, look, put it this way, being a person that believes in hard work, good ethics, just if you put the work in, you reap the rewards, and etc. It was just so difficult for me to go, this salvation that we've got for us is a gift for us, and all we've got to do is to receive. I don't have to do anything. I don't know, do I have to pay?
What can I do?
Yeah,
God?
yeah. It's like, I don't deserve this. This is so awesome, and that was the one thing that I had to break. I guess in me, in my heart, in my brain, really. This really, to me at that time, it just didn't make any sense. But one thing that really helped, I guess, journey me throughout all this was the people that God surrounded me with. Was just all the fruits of the spirit that you see, your kindness, generosity, and everything. And I just go, let me buy you something. And they'd be like, no, please, just receive it, just accept it. It's a gift. I was like, what, really? So that was definitely the biggest one, yeah.
I love that. Now, we're obviously in the week leading up to Easter, and I love that, you were able to go on that journey and come to know Jesus. And I think you were saying when we were off the mic before, it's been about 7 years now.
Yeah.
7 years of walking with the Lord. What does the cross mean to you? Like, why is this season so important?
Wow, that's hard to wrap on words, honestly.
There's a lot in it, but even if there's like one thing that you go like, this is who the Lord is to me.
Yeah. The Lord to me is this love that, I think the one thing that we've got as human beings is that when we relate the word love, it's always about something romantic. And to me, that cross is love in a way where it's more than just like, this romantic definition that we've all grown so accustomed with when we watch movies and TV shows and all that. And it's always that relation, but that relationship with Jesus, with God, it's so powerful. That love, that never-ending love, that unconditional love, is just so powerful, and that pulls you through. That just brings you absolute wisdom, in approaching your daily life and showing grace and just understanding and dealing with conflicts. Gosh, we need that love so much in our daily lives. So that to me, that's what the cross means to me.
Yeah, and I love how in the Bible, the word love, like one of the words used is agape, and agape is selfless, unconditional, sacrificial love that prioritizes other people over oneself. And that's what Jesus did on the cross.
Yeah.
He laid his life down for you and for me. And I just love that. I always think about, and my husband articulates it better than me, I think, because his story is actually similar to yours, Derrick. I think when we think about the cross and we know that he died for every sin that we've ever done, for every sin that we will ever do, that he hung on the cross selflessly with unconditional love because he had you on his mind, and he had me on his mind on the cross. Like, that almost brings me to tears every time. Like, we were on his mind on the cross. Like, your journey, your story, my journey, my story, we were on his mind as he hung there. And I just think, what a privilege. And I love that you said grace is one of the first things that you felt God teach you, because it is a gift. And maybe there's people listening today and you've actually never heard that, you know, knowing Jesus, it's not about what you do. It's not about being perfect. It's not about having it all together. It is a free gift that God has given to us through Jesus dying on the cross. And you don't have to do anything. You just accept him and you accept that grace. And then you try and live a life that, you know, reflects his love. But man, when we understand his grace, it changes our world.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Man, Derrick, thank you so much for joining me today. I just know that your story is going to impact so many people. And yeah, I just can't wait to hear what God does with you in the future.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of the podcast. I hope that it encouraged you, that it's helped you through, and that it helps to challenge you through the season of life that you're facing, uplift you if you're feeling down. And most of all, I pray that you're able to draw closer and closer to God. I'm so excited to keep diving into the Word of God with you. I pray you're able to find moments of joy.